Today we're going to talk about my tonsils. Well, these aren't really mine, because I don't have mine. I had them out in 1953, and believe it or not, I had them out with chloroform. The doctor just poured some chloroform on a gauze, put it over my mouth, and asked me to count backwards from 3, and I think I got to 2. That's my chloroform story. But the real chloroform story goes back to Queen Victoria in 1853 when she gave birth to Prince Leopold using chloroform as an anesthetic. And that shocked the United Kingdom. There were controversies because the church didn't like that. They said women are supposed to bring children forth in pain, etc. But the public said, look, if it's good enough for the Queen, it's good enough for us. Anyway, I've told that story many times, many ways. But, now, as I was thinking about this, where did they get the chloroform from? I mean, in those days, you didn't just go into a store and buy chloroform. So I had to look into it. And here is a chemistry lesson. We rarely do this, but you're lucky today because I did look into this. So it takes us all the way back to 1831. And Dr. Samuel Guthrie was the person who for the first time synthesized chloroform. And he did this by taking alcohol, that is ethanol, and mixing it with bleaching powder. Now we're going to trace this back because question comes up, where did he get the alcohol and where did he get the bleaching powder? Well, the alcohol is obvious, right? Because you get that by fermentation, and that has been known for millennia. But what about this thing called bleaching powder? Calcium hypochlorite is what we call it. All right, so we go one step further back. Where did that bleaching powder come from? Now we go back to 1799, and Charles Mackintosh, the same guy who came up with the Mackintosh raincoat. Well, he was a chemist, and he's the one who found that if you took something called slaked lime and mixed it with chlorine, you got this bleaching powder, the calcium hypochlorite. But now we have to ask the question, where would he have gotten the slaked lime and where would he have gotten the chlorine? So we go one step further back. In order to get that slaked lime, you need something we call quicklime. And you react that with water and you get the slaked lime that you need. But where would they have gotten the quicklime? One step further back. You get that from limestone. Heat limestone, which is calcium carbonate, and you get quicklime. It's called calcium oxide. Why is it called quicklime? Because it quickly reacts with water to form slaked lime, as we saw before. But now, of course, comes another question, because we had used chlorine. Where would they have gotten chlorine? Well, in 1774, the Swedish chemist Schwarcz found that if you took salt with sulfuric acid, you generated chlorine gas. Salt, well, of course, that you can get by evaporating seawater or you can mine it. But what about the sulfuric acid? For that, we go back, to about the 8th century, when the alchemist Ibn Sayyah found that if you took vitriol, which is a mineral, actually iron sulfate, and you heated that up with water, you got sulfuric acid. So there it is. That's how you trace back all the chemicals that were needed to make chloroform, the stuff that put me to sleep in 1953, following in the footsteps of Queen Victoria, who gave birth to Prince Leopold and later to Princess Beatrice using chloroform. What was her take on chloroform? She said it was delightful, quieting, and soothing. And so it is.